Hi guys, this is Ravenclaw with If. Welcome back to another What If story. We're going to get right into this where we left off. The moment Alice placed her hand on the metal surface of the door, she immediately yanked her hand backwards from being burnt. Of course, those goddamn hunters made the door out of silver. Those hunters are a lot more resourceful than I gave them credit for. If they would implement a silver door, clearly they're hiding something. Will you please stand back, Alice? As the fairly young Alpha nods at Izuku, as she stands behind him, Izuku gently placed his palm onto the surface of the door and dragged his finger across it, feeling the cold metal onto his hands or his palm. I gotta admit, this door is well made. And I also sense magic in the door itself, most likely to repel magical attacks. Clearly, they're hiding something very important behind this door to take such measures. Nevertheless, this won't keep me from finding what they're hiding. As the door starts to heat up, as the silver door turned a bright red color, a few seconds later the door turned to ash from being exposed to extreme amount of heat. The Alpha watches Izuku use his abilities on the door. She always found it ironic that he has the power of fire, especially how much he looks like a vampire, and especially how vulnerable vampires are when it comes to fire. Fire alone can't kill a vampire, but it'll make it very uncomfortable for them until before their regeneration kicks in. And she has been very concerned about Izuku. She doesn't want him to become a weapon for the vampire council to use and discard at their leisure. She came to truly care about the boy. She clearly doesn't trust the vampire council one bit, but she knows some vampires would only consider him as a tool to be used. She got interrupted by her inner thoughts by a concerned look at her unofficial adopted little brother that she grew to care about quite a bit. Is everything alright, Alice? You look troubled. Sorry about that. Everything's fine. I was just deep in thought. That's all. Let's go. As they both walk down the pure white corridor, when they, yeah, basically pure white corridor, it's nothing like the tunnels or any structure wise that was once there. When they finally got to the end of the hallway, they saw a huge elevator that could possibly hold several people all at once. I don't like this, Izuku. This elevator looks pretty high-tech. I don't like this either. How were they even... sorry. How are they even managed... Sorry. Let's try this again. How could they even manage to make something like this without anyone knowing? Izuku pressed the button on the elevator as the door opens up. They both step inside. Then he pressed the only button on the elevator itself. As they begin to descend down, Izuku uses his fire to vaporize the emergency hatch that is used to get on top of the cart. As he wraps his arms around Alice as they jump up through the hatch, landing on top of the elevator cart. After letting Alice go, As they wait on top of the elevator for a few moments, when it finally stopped descending down, the moment the elevator door opens up, they both could hear gun firing, being shot strictly towards into the elevator cart. The moment he smelled the group of hunters that were approaching the elevator, Izuku stuck out his hand through the hatch and ignited his fire, killing everyone that was on the elevator. As they both jumped back into the elevator, she noticed the charged skeletons that were once humans in the elevator itself. I got to admit, that fire is pretty handy. But I'm wondering, why do you always leave skeletons behind? Give, given your, sorry, given their charged skeletons, I assume you would be able to make your core hot enough for it to vaporize the skeleton itself. Think of it as my calling card, Alice. As she rolls her eyes, she stepped out of the elevator with Izuku. Several well-armed hunters come running down the hallway as Alice jumps onto the wall, starts to run on the wall she jumped onto, running alongside it, basically. As she jumped over the wall, clotheslined the closest hunter, then she sidekicked the hunter to the right. As she dove her knee into the hunter's stomach, then snapped his neck. As she walks towards the man on the ground that she clotheslined, as her fingernails sharpened, as she approached the man and slit his throat. Sorry guys, give me a second here. Ooh. Let's get back to the story. And people call me flashy. Shut up, let's go. As they both notice alarms going off, they most likely know the main reason for that. The alarm is probably going off because of them. They both have a similar thought during this. Most likely, most likely going in quiet is most likely not possible at this current time. Look up, Alice. As Alice looks up to see cameras in the corner of the hallway, so they know we're here. Most likely. Well, it doesn't really matter, little bro. We're going to have to kill everyone anyways. It looks like that looks like that's our only option at this current time. As they finally approach one of the doors that was in the hallway, the moment they walked in, Izuku's eyes widen as he sees several residents of the Vampire Cork District citizens in some sort of cells. Everyone in their cells seemed to have some sort of vampire quirk. Izuku thought they Izuku thought they've been kidnapping people, but he doesn't know for how long they've been doing this. But clearly, people are being taken against their will, and the authorities are oblivious to this or chose to look the other way. He's unsure. Either way, he needs to put it into this. My God, there's so many people. The room has 3 levels to it, and every cell is occupied by an innocent civilian, ranging from old to young alike. From closer inspection, Izuku noticed the occupants are being held in some sort of... Sorry. From, from a closer inspection, Izuku noticed the occupants are being hold in the cells. They seem to be in a zombie-like state. The cause is most likely some sort of drug they've been dosing them in, and most likely the food, to keep them more compliant, or most likely the water as well. One person in the cell caught his eye. It was a little girl with white hair with a horn protruding from the side of her forehead. She seemed to be hiding underneath the bed. Clearly, she doesn't have a vampire quirk. He clearly could see the girl's been through quite an ordeal, judging from the rags she's wearing, the dark circles underneath her eyes, and the pure fear is emanating from the little girl's body and her facial expression. Before he could do anything else, three doors that were scattered across the rooms opened up. The doors seemed to open up and close from some sort of mechanical lock. Three figures on all fours comes running out of the doorway, strictly towards them. Judging from the appearance, they seem to be some sort of science project gone wrong. Clearly they aren't human. It's hard to tell. It's hard to say if they were once human at one time. Their skin is pure white, with no hair on them, wearing some sort of metal covering half of their face. The only part of their face wasn't covered by the metal headgear was their mouth. In their mouth was filled with jagged teeth, with snake-like lizard tongue, as they produce a disturbing shriek. These are pretty much what the creatures look like. I just couldn't find a picture with a metal covering half the face, so you just have to use your imagination on that part. But yeah, these are basically what the creatures look like. Izuku noticed these creatures were pretty fast. Izuku barely dodged one of these white creatures, as he noticed there was a claw mark rip from his shirt. A brief second later, he saw a claw on these creatures from dodging several strikes afterwards. He could tell they're extremely sharp. When he tried to blast one of them with fire, the creature jumped over his fire while in the air. It was diving towards Izuku. Luckily for Izuku, Alice jumped in the air and socked the creature across the face with her fist. As the creature, as she lands right behind Izuku, as they both turn their back to each other, as they lean against each other from back to cover their blind spots. The creature seemed to shrug off the attack like it was nothing as it got back up. Well, this is not good. Do you have any idea what the things are? Never seen a creature like this before, and I put a lot of strength in that attack. I think we're in trouble here. That thing just shrugged my attack off like it was nothing. I'm going to have to shift to keep up with their speed. Will you be fine on your own for a little bit? Don't worry about me. I'll manage. Can you distract them while I go through my transformation? How long do you need? About 20 seconds. I got your back, Alice. Do what you need to do. Izuku activated Blackout as black electricity begins to crackle off his skin. Alice did see that, but she needs to focus on her transformation. She'll question him about it later. Izuku gently bent down and touched the ground. Electricity starts to shoot out from the electricity starts to travel through the ground and shoot up at these creatures. As all three of the creatures jump out of the way. Unfortunately, one of them wasn't so lucky, as Izuku could hear the creature scream out in pain. As the other two creatures rush towards Izuku. To respond to the new threat approaching, he created a black lightning whip from his two fingers. As he struck two of the creatures at the same time, as they go flying against the room, flying against the room, hitting the ground hard, as there was a small electric explosion from the skin contact from his lightning whip. Before one of the creatures could get up, he shot a condensed black fire orb at the creature, going through its head. As the head exploded from the impact, killing it, Izuku has a smirk on his face as a white werewolf jump over Izuku, engaging one of the creatures, leaving Izuku to handle the last one on one. The moment he stepped it forward in the middle of the room, a trapdoor opened up beneath him. Oh crap. As he fell through, Alice didn't notice Izuku fall through the trapdoor. She couldn't worry about that right now. She was she was a she was too busy dealing with the current threat. She was a bit relieved that one of the creatures didn't try to follow Izuku down to the trapdoor. As she begins to battle the two creatures, luckily for her, these two creatures might be strong and fast, but nowhere near the level to take down a alpha in her werewolf form. She brutally tore these creatures piece by piece. When she was about to go through the trap door, the trap door closed shut basically. As she begins to pound on the ground, trying to break through, she caught several new scents coming towards her in incredible speed. As several of these same creatures several of these creatures showed up down the hallway, making Alice deal with them before she could go after Izuku. As she's thinking clearly there's more than three of them here. She's unaware how many of these abominations they have. We cut back to Izuku. When he finally came out the other side of the trapdoor, he landed onto his arm, breaking it from his landing. Izuku struggled to get back to his feet as he snapped his arm back into place as his regeneration kicks in. As he heard a voice coming from the far right of the room, as he turned his head to the right, seeing a woman on a monitor wearing some sort of lab coat with glasses. Fascinating. Your generation is quite impressive. Who the hell are you? Who I am doesn't matter. You intrigue me. Since you started this little assault on the hunters, I did not expect you form an alliance with the werewolves. You're quite a resourceful one. Sorry. What I want to know is why are you working with the hunters? You don't seem to be the type to pair to sorry to be part of their little group. It is a temporary alliance. They were a necessary evil to collect my samples for my experiments. Despite the quality of experiments they brought me, I would never thought a specimen of your caliber would come to me willingly. Quite fascinating. What what the hell are you after? I guess I could tell you it's not like you're going to leave here anytime soon. I want to create the next evolution of human for the human species. Using the vampire quirks, I came to realize uh, sorry, after I realized a closer look to the geno, they're they're the key. It is necessary to progress the human species as a whole. What method I use doesn't concern me. I will sacrifice millions to improve the jillions. When it comes to the hunters, when they serve their purpose, they will be removed permanently. You don't have to worry your pretty little vampire head over that. Now, my favorite little specimen, let's see how long you can survive. I'm expecting great things from you, my boy. The only way out of the room is a big metal gate. As the gate slowly moves up, as several of the same creatures that Izuku fought upstairs come running out of the gateway, he managed to dodge majority of the attacks, but they slowly outnumber him. As he grabbed one of the abominations by the head and slammed his head against the cement ground, leaving cracks in the cement. Then he stand onto his hands and spin kick several of these abominations to clear some distance between him and them. He's way outnumbered. As he leaped in the air while using his hands, after the spin kick, as he does a backflip in mid-flight, he shot a medium-sized fire orb, blasting several of the creatures into the walls. As he landed on his feet gracefully in the small crater he just created, as Izuku saw all the creatures recover from his attack, he knows he needs to end this fast. It's only a matter of time before they gang up on him, all at once. He decided to use his most devastating attack, as he condensed the heat in his body to a dangerous level, then unleash it all at once in a devastating black flash of light, vaporizing everything in the room. Even the stone ground and walls were somewhat melted, as all the abomination turned to ash instantly, leaving piles of ash scattered all around the room. Even the monitor that the science was using to converse or communicate with Izuku was melted. That attack did a lot of damage to his body, quite a bit. He was kneeling on one knee. If it wasn't for his vampire regeneration, he would die from his injuries. The moment he stepped out of the room after recovering, the hallway that connected the room was pitch black. The moment he stepped into it, venturing into the hallway, the lights flicker on. Izuku noticed several doors in the hallway. He turned to one door. As he turned into ash, as he sees some sort of laboratory. It seems to be in the laboratory. It seems there was a large computer. As he begins to look through the files and recordings, then he saw something that disturbed him. The videos of the process of disturbing videos of the process of making these creatures that has been that he's been fighting. They've been churning the general population that have vampire quirks in these abomination creatures, mutating the quirk gene and mutating the quirk gene. As he watched with some sort of chemical makeup, as he watched several experiments through many of the videos, either injecting it into their veins or using a chemical in a gas form, it disgusted him. He takes the flash drive out of his pocket and stuck it into the computer and copied all the files, proof of the human experiments. As his eyes churn, sorry, as his eyes begin to churn a bright glowing red color. His eyes colors are naturally red, but they're a lot more glowing now because he's pissed from his pure anger that he feels inside. These monsters need to, sorry, these monsters need to die. Every single fucking one of them will be fucking erased. This whole goddamn complex from existence. Basically erased from existence, basically what I'm trying to say. As the rooms start to heat up from the pure anger, luckily he was alone in this room. If anyone stepped in accidentally, they would die from their organs being boiled alive. That's how much heat he's generating into the room. He had to force himself to calm down before he destroyed everything in the room. He still needs to collect the evidence and hand it over to the Vampire Council. Luckily, the firewall that was placed in the computer was easy to bypass. He's always been good. Sorry. Hacking has always been one of his hobbies. He was quite good at it. Even his hacking skills scared his mother sometimes. Good. It's downloaded. Good. The download has been completed. Now I need to find the sample of this chemical to find a way to reverse them, if that's even possible at this point. After I require the sample, rescue who I can, then kill the scientist, judging by the information I got from the computer. There's a self-destruct protocol in place, just in case there were compromise. Then get the hell out of here. And get out alive. In order to activate the self-destruct protocol, I need to venture further down below. It seems like I can't access through this computer. It might be on a separate mainframe. It looks like the hunters are bunkered down on the other side of the complex. I'm going to hit that first and massacre them all. I also need to reunite with Alice. Hopefully, I come across her before I activate the self-destruct. Ezekiel made his way to part of the facility where the hunters were occupying basically. Ezekiel blasts with fire at the security door that separated him from the rest of the hunters. As the door shoots forward, hitting the wall in the room, all the hunters turn their head to see a white-haired boy walking with glowing red eyes. And some of them can tell from his mouth. Sorry, they can see the fangs from his mouth from a certain angle. Immediately, they knew what he was from his appearance alone, and the fangs was a big giveaway. They were unsure if he was a real vampire or a human with a quirk, with a vampire quirk. He walked into the room while dragging a dead hunter by the feet and some sort of silver sword that he took off the dead hunter when he killed him on his opposite hand. His face was completely emotionless. The playful expression that would be on his face when he normally fights people was replaced with a cold expression. His facial expression his facial expression can tell he's no longer taking he's all serious. And he's quite furious. Ooh, that kind of rhymed. Anyways, without saying without saying a single word, he rushed forward and chopped several of the hunters' heads off their bodies and burned them alive with his opposite hand. As body parts begin to decorate the floor of the room, as he's covered head to toe with their blood, as he looks up to the camera and point the silver sword strictly towards it, I'm coming for you, woman, and once I get there, I'm gonna fucking drain you dry. There was no response back at Izuku. He knew she understood the threat. Izuku smelled a familiar scent coming directly towards him. As he sees Alice carrying some sort of bladed weapon in her human form, she found some spare clothes that were stashed in one of the rooms. As her eyes widen to see the scene in front of her, "There you are. Are you injured at all?" Izuku. As she pats him down to make sure he's alright. "I'm fine." As she pulls him in and embraces him into a hug. "Tell me everything what happened since we got separated. And don't leave any minor details out." Izuku told her everything what happened while they were separated, explained to her the horrifying experiments that the creatures they've been fighting were once human before they were changed. As they come up with a plan, while Izuku fetched the serum they've been using to change these people and kill the scientist before she attempts to escape, then Alice is to attempt to rescue the innocent civilians trapped in their cells and guide them back to the surface before Izuku can activate the self-destruct, then make its way back out of the facility before it blows up. When Izuku approached the elevator to go deeper into the facility, Izuku noticed the power was cut, as he had to forcefully open the door to the elevator. As he began to scale down the elevator shaft while grabbing onto one of the metal wires that connect to the one of the elevator cars that up beneath and connected to the bottom, basically. As he heard noises from above, several of these creatures crawling onto the wall of the elevator shaft, he was forced to climb down faster and forcefully open up the elevator door and run through the hallway. As he saw a panel on the wall at the end of the hallway, he pressed it. He immediately pressed it as security metal blast doors begin to close in case of emergencies. If the creatures ever went on a rampage, they begin to shut, separating him from the horde of creatures coming towards him. One of them almost made it through the security blast doors. The creature was cut in half from the door closing onto it. As it tried to crawl towards him, as he used a fire orb to blast its head off its body. As Ezekiel sighed in relief, there was no way he could have fought them off. There was too many of them. He has no idea how many she turned into these abominations. When he approached one of the labs, he found the room filled with the same creatures that he's been fighting, but they were encased in some sort of glass container, basically, in some sort of water. It didn't look natural. It didn't look like natural water. Clearly, it was a different color. It was the water. Let's say the liquid was blue. It seemed to be. Sorry. They seemed to be unresponsive. Luckily for him, he saw one of his objections once he opened a cold storage that keeps the serum in cold temperatures. As he saw a carrying case that's meant for travel, the serum, just in case you have to transfer to another facility. So it keeps it keeps the serum in a certain degree. If it's out of the cold temperature, it will lose its effectiveness and be completely useless. He placed several of the serums in the case and closed it. When he was about halfway through the room, the creatures burst out of their glass casing As he ran through the door and melt the door shut to seal it, as he could hear the pounding on the other side of the door, it won't keep him out for long. As he begins to increase his his pace in a fast motion, as he needs the location, as he needs to locate the mainframe before before confronting the mad scientist. Before he could reach the mainframe, a automated voice went off all around the facility, informing the staff they have lost control over the specimens. They have overran the facility as the self-destruct sequence has been engaged. Several small explosions goes off all around the facility from the damage of the creatures. What the creatures are making damage of the facility, basically. What's going on? Izuku had to act fast to find the scientist, kill her, then get the hell out of here. He's running out of time. When it came to Alice's part of the plan, she was able to successfully rescue everyone in the cells with the help of her pack using the mind link to allow them to find her and rescue all the people. Luckily for her, all the creatures were in the lower levels. The moment she heard a small explosion going off down below, she wanted to rush back down there to help Izuku, but she stopped herself from doing that because she knows these people need help. She was forced to do one thing she never thought she was going to do. She called Inko and asked for her help. As she informed her of the situation with her son, she she immediately sent people over after hearing her son was trapped down below. Several minutes later, Inko arrived with a squad of vampires that are completely loyal to her. Where's my son, Alice? Still in the facility, the complex, basically. At, at, at least I know he's still alive for now. How can you tell? Me and my son have a blood link. We're, we're, we're somewhat able to tell when we're in danger or hurt. I knew I shouldn't allow I knew I shouldn't allow them to send him on this mission. I had a bad feeling about this from the start. I I could tell from your facial expression the fear that's emanated from you. You're quite worried about my son. Of course I am. I might not know your boy for long, but me and my pack consider him as family. He's like a little brother. Interesting. This could actually this could actually be used in my favor. What do you mean, Inko? After he after he returned from this mission, I have no doubt the council would want him to go on more dangerous missions. I won't allow that to happen. Not not after what happening to sorry. Not after what happened tonight. What are you going to do? I highly doubt your little council will allow you to stop them. True. That is true. But they can't do anything if you keep them in your territory. Wait, are you suggesting I kidnap your son? Not kidnap, just keeping him safe from all the vampire politics. Until you came into the picture, I had no way to stop the council. I might have a seat on the council, I just don't have the necessary pull to keep my son away from their madness. But considering the non-aggression alliance your kind has with the vampires, technically he's still human. They won't be able to they won't be able to touch him. It won't be permanent, but it would buy me enough time to come up with a permanent Situation. Solution, sorry. Solution, not situation. Solution. Let's let's continue forward. Will you be able to help him in this? I know we have a shaky history. Normally, I would refuse you on the spot, but considering we're talking about Izuku, I'll do it. Izuku told me to hand this over to you. She handed over the flash drive and the samples of the serum. What's this? I don't know much about it myself. Somehow, the people that were using the hunters create some sort of serum that changed people with vampire quirks into some sort of monsters. Everything you need to know is on the drive, the USB drive, and that's a sample of the serum that they've been using to create these damn things. To create these damn things. There we go. Sorry. Thanks, Alice. I'll make sure I'll have my people take a look at it. And we will be extremely careful with this serum. Out of all the vampire packs I've came across, Alice, the Silver Moons have always had my respect. Your mother and father were great leaders. Thanks, Lady Inko. I tried my best to fill their shoes since their passing. I was quite saddened by their passing. Inko has a sad expression on her face. She quite enjoyed her talks with those the old alpha and his wife. Inko saw a little girl hiding behind the twin werewolves. And who's the little one? The little one here was the only non-vampire quirk that was captured. She hasn't spoken to anyone yet. Izuku was very adamant to rescue the girl first. My son has always my son has always been a kind boy. Very well. I'll have my people take the civilians. I'll have them processed and healed inside and sent to proper homes in the vampire district. By the look of them, they seem to be heavily medicated by something. Whatever drug they consume, it seems to be quite powerful. Everyone turned their head around as they heard footsteps coming out of the doorway of the entry of the facility. Izuku stepped out with not a very pleased expression on his face, as he was highly disappointed. Inko rushed over to her son to give him a big hug. I'm glad you're safe, dear. I'm fine, Mom. I wasn't expecting you so soon. Never mind. We can talk about that later. You need to leave now. The facility is about to blow. Self-destruct sequence was activated. We need to evacuate everyone out of the area. Inko command her people, and as they all begin to evacuate the area, as when everyone got to a safe distance, when they were transporting all the civilians out of the area into vehicles, they saw the explosion in the background. It destroyed the whole area around the abandoned subway tunnel. Luckily, there wasn't any residents living in the area, so there was no civilian casualties. Inko and Izuku and Alice decided to debrief each other back at the pack house. As the little girl was brought along with them. That's probably where we're going to cut it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Enjoy my time zones, and I'll catch you in the next What If.